Hello, ciao there. So glad you could join me again as we break down how to slow aging by traveling more. But first, let's get this famous travel phrasing of traveling to escape your life. Let's get this out of the way. Dismiss it, in fact, by proposing a challenge for you to start creating a life that you desire to live in. A life that is enhanced every time you travel, and not the opposite, where you travel and sometimes cry at the thought of coming back to your normal life. So next time you find yourself saying, "Oh, how I wish I could just travel and escape my life," pause and remember this conversation. Remember that there are no do-overs. This is the only life you will get, so fight to make it a life worth staying for, a life worth smiling upon. On that note, I can only hope that this episode will not only encourage you to travel more so that you can stay young and fresh, but I hope it will also inspire you to work towards a life that you love and look forward to coming home to after every travel. Okay, so let us break down today's topic about how traveling can actually keep you young and fit. Yes, I know, it sounds crazy, but here we are. I personally, for one, love traveling, but ever since I started working, it's been a little different. Besides the fact that my time is no longer mine, nor can I simply take advantage of those 5-year Ryanair sails to explore my neighboring countries and cultures. As a student, I used to travel a lot because I simply could. But now that I've entered the so-called working or adulting life, I have had to become a little more intentional with where I go because I have holiday weeks to take into consideration now. What all of this eventually did for me was actually increase my time of contemplation regarding all the places I go and the adventures that I choose to embark on. When time is so limited, you understand that it is not all about the destinations as much as it is about what the different destinations can offer you as a person. This, of course, has sparked the backdrop to today's topic regarding mindful traveling. Traveling is it's not just about going abroad. It's not limited to that. Even traveling in your own home country is considered traveling because the point remains that you are leaving your everyday location in life to intentionally explore unfamiliar places. The key word there is intentional. Too many times people take their own home country for granted, thinking it has nothing to offer. For example, I was arguing with my best friend who also lived and grew up in South Africa about whether or not traveling in your home country should be regarded as traveling, to which she argues, "Of course not. It is all too familiar." And right there, I just almost lost my handles. Now I understand where I'm coming from. So I grew up in Witbank, which is an hour away from Johannesburg, but geographically considered Mpumalanga. Then I moved to study in Cape Town. That alone, just from Joburg to Cape Town, that alone changed me and my priorities. Now, if you don't know anything about South Africa, Cape Town is where everything is so laid back, life orientated, but Johannesburg is much more materialistic and fast paced. And this is just an example of the two big provinces in South Africa, where we have 11 different ethnicities. So never mind all the stuff in between and how much more you could actually get from it if you just were intentional. Which means you have no excuse not to apply this episode in your own life because traveling includes your own home country. The concept of traveling to escape your everyday life is what I actually dare to challenge your thoughts on today and entice you to the undeniably good benefits of traveling, keeping you young and free. Okay, let's dive right into it. It may sound silly at first, but stop and think about it. And you realize that maybe I could be putting my money to even better use when I intentionally and mindfully explore the world around me. Instead of Botox and anti-aging schemes, I am suggesting that maybe you travel more to keep young. Let's break it down. How traveling can procrastinate the aging process. So when we actively engage in our unfamiliar surroundings or even sometimes scary situation, this allows our brain to create new neural pathways, which is called neuroplasticity. All right. Simply put, this means it's our brain's ability to change and grow. This is the same as learning a new language, as learning a new sport or acquiring a new hobby. When traveling to a new place for the first time, there's that need to switch off the autopilot mode of living and actually engage with all that is around you. The smells, the colors, the different sounds in the different languages. It is like awakening of your brain to using different parts that are not often used. These changes then force your brain to process information, which leads to dendrite production, which is what we want. Here's the best part, is that even when traveling doesn't go your way, you miss a train, you lose your wallet, you get lost, you lose your passport, you're still generating dendrites, i.e. your brain is still growing. In fact, these moments of inconvenience are often the moments that generate the most dendrites. That means not getting lost in a city is not a waste of time. No, it's not. It's actually improving your cognitive functions such as attention, memory, and problem solving. I know, crazy. When you stop to consider the other side of it, when we're sticking to our comfort zone and all that is familiar, we're kind of indirectly contributing to our own death. Neurons die in general from aging, but when we do nothing to stimulate their regeneration, then we're assisting in the aging process. I mean, no one has an excuse because traveling does not always require a flight ticket or massive saving. It just needs a willing mind and an open heart to even explore your neighborhood and places you do not even go to in your own city. I mean, you don't have to leave. So the two key elements that actually can assist you with regards to traveling and staying young. Number one, our beloved dopamine hormone, which actually brings to memory, if you haven't heard the previous episode where I was talking about how fear causes anxiety and how love could lead to a more courageous and free life. I recommend you listen to that next, especially if you find traveling quite scary. I think it could actually be helpful. All right. So back to the traveling. The two key things that could help you stay young. One, just when we begin to plan our vacation, there is a stimulation of dopamine. Yes, just at the thought of it. A study was done trying to understand if there were benefits, as in happiness with planning a holiday versus winging it. And they found that at the end of vacation, those who actually planned their vacation were happier and more satisfied compared to those who went with the flow. Those who had taken the time to actually plan and, I assume, apply these 3 easy tips that I'll be breaking down in this episode had a higher dopamine level than their counterpart. This is linked to the concept of anticipation. Just the mere fact that you're thinking about the good time that awaits you puts you in a better and happier place than those who just winged it. I mean, imagine planning months in advance. You're just staying happy the whole time before it's even happened. And of course, you get to the experience and when your plan actually meets your needs, therefore leaving you with an even higher level of dopamine versus those didn't quite plan for their needs. Could be great, yes, I do acknowledge that, but you do not get a double dose of dopamine, a double dose of happiness, so to say, when you actually plan your holiday. The second part is to why dopamine is essential in keeping you young. Well, simple. The increase in dopamine equals a decrease in cortisol, i.e. your stress levels, your stress hormone. So evidently, the more you get more when you actually plan your holiday versus winging it. It's just simply being intentional. When you choose to be intentional, your body meets you where you are and it gives you more. As we all know that those that are happy live longer and healthier lives. It's proven countless times in history. And not forgetting the most important part is that with the increase in dopamine, there's a decrease in your likelihood of getting depression. I mean, the benefits are endless with dopamine. We could sit here and talk endlessly about how dopamine is so helpful to staying young. The second part is cognitive flexibility. It's basically the mind's ability to switch between different ideas and see deeper connections. So every problem you solve, whether it's successfully locating your hotel using Google, which sometimes is a mess, or ordering your favorite drink in a bar in a foreign language, or ordering your favorite Italian meal after having a crash course before coming to Italy, for example, whatever it is, whatever challenges that often come with traveling. All of this at the end of the day builds your confidence and flexes those gray matter like it would when you're solving a math problem or filling in a crossword. It feeds your creativity and the awareness of the world around you. It's good for your mind and the soul, really. Creativity is simply the ability to create or connect things in a unique and unexpected way. Throwing yourself in new situations, for example, helps your brain practice coming up with creative solutions to new situations and problems, and in turn boosting your creative abilities. I know it sounds so far-fetched, but if you've ever been in a foreign country, don't speak the language, and all you have is a map that you downloaded before you got there. This was like me in my early days of traveling, Google Offline, like back in 2014, and trying to find where the heck you're supposed to go, and maybe navigating, see, maybe if I take that road, which would lead me there, which would be shorter, and it turns out to be a disaster. Oh my gosh, pretty much all of these boost your creativity. And I know sometimes people think they're not creative, but actually it's been proven that there is no such thing as a more creative person than the other. It's just lack of development. There you go, there's a solution. If you've ever wanted to be creative, or you're stuck in a creative family and you're academic, just travel more. I mean, there's so many benefits to traveling, it's ridiculous. So the thing that is done best to achieve all this creativity is through traveling, because when you go to all these different places, you challenge yourself. You challenge yourself by maybe learning new words and how to say thank you, grazie, or how to say pleasure, prego, or hola, hi, ciao, salute, all these different ways. You're pretty much using muscles in your brain that you generally wouldn't do in your everyday life. Even a study by Global Correlation of Aging found that traveling actually lowered the risk of developing dementia or age-related cognitive decline. I mean, the benefits are so endless. All right. So in this episode, I just merely want to suggest 3 things that you could try in your everyday life to see if you could rediscover you, or even better yet, truly find you, and even hey, potentially live forever, sharp and feeling 21. i.e., how can you achieve this youthfulness or take full neurological advantage of your travels? If you're really into traveling, stick around, and if not, I hope by now you'll actually be inspired to travel more and be more daring and more adventurous, because man, just the thought of traveling puts me in a good space. All right. So these 3 points that I want to, these 3 tips, right, that I believe all these researchers applied when they were asking those that had planned their trips and those that didn't plan their trips, and how come they were more satisfied and happier, right? I think they applied these tips. They knew this podcast was coming. They knew this episode was coming. All right, so the first one is mindful intention. Understanding your needs first, all right? You need to know what season you're in life will help you find out what you need, all right? So being mindfully intentional is about setting clear intentions to your travels so you can actually give your mind and body what it needs. You agree with me? You cannot go somewhere and say you're going to get a drink when you don't know what drink you want. Are you cold? Are you hot? Do you feel like something strong, something not? You need to understand your need to understand where you need to go, right? And this is the same for traveling. For example, if you just finished your midterm exams or your final board exams, and what you need is more probably de-steaming and an increase in dopamine to decrease all that cortisol from all that stress. Similarly, if you've been working intense, chasing deadlines, your brain has been working on an overload, right? All analytical and really thinking. Maybe you desire to engage less cognitively, and you'd rather want to activate a different side of your brain. So if your job requires the left hemisphere of your brain, and when you go on holiday, maybe consider that you'd get more by activating your right hemisphere of your brain, because then your left is on a holiday, right? But you're actually still growing and you're actually still becoming better, and you're actually training your brain, which means you're gonna stay sharper and younger. Just gotta juggle it properly. And this comes to being mindful. When you understand what you need, you can start planning the way too, because sitting on the beach and doing nothing, it does not actually count as resting your brain. Like I said, you have to understand, your work is right or left hemisphere brain, and then you go on holiday, engage on the opposite. I trust you me, it'll be more rewarding. You actually feel like you went on holiday. Now, understanding the where to should be guided by your set objectives, because when you have your set objectives on what you want, this guides your actions, right? and therefore you find activities that line up with what you need, all right? And then you have a fruitful holiday, okay? There's nothing worse than an irrelevant holiday. I know it sounds really like an oxymoron, it doesn't make sense, but there is nothing worse than an irrelevant holiday where you find yourself that I went on holiday, but I feel like I just felt like I was at work in a different way. That's exactly what happened to me this year, right? Friends and I, a friend from South Africa came over to visit, and my friends from here, so we all decided we're gonna go on vacation, south of France, beach vibes, Nice and Thebes, Monaco. Oh, I mean, we had a whole thing planned, but what I didn't plan was what I needed. So we flew and started the vacation, and Dell was shutting down, like literally every chance of silence, every moment of silence that I got, I was pretty much napping. It was so bad. I'm like, I haven't seen these people like years. I just need to have the energy to catch up, the energy to talk. I was just so tired. I was just like, I just can't. And then it was like a mutual consensual decision that, all right, I think maybe, we take 1 or 2 days, Del, you just, chill in the hotel by the beach, you rest, and when you're ready to engage, we'll hop along on the hop on, hop off bus and continue our trip, That's what I meant by irrelevant holiday, when I did not evaluate in the time, okay, I needed just to switch off from work and engage a different part of me when I was not talking, because I work in psychiatry where therapy involves talking and analyzing people, analyzing behavior, to actually give a meaningful comment or to say something meaningful and to be able to treat the patient meaningfully, right? And so when I go on holiday, I want to switch off that part for a bit, and the way I normally do holidays and how we planned it was totally engaging with the culture, with the people, with the food. It's just let's go. And classic example of an irrelevant holiday where I did not consider my needs to rest and engage my other side of the brain, which would have been more fun. So what we eventually did, that was quite helpful for me. We went hiking, exploring the Swiss Alps, which was amazing because I got time of silence and reflection and peace, and just the silence up there is incredible. It's just like hike and pray, or hike and think, and just hiking and just enjoy, So after that, I was actually in a space where I could give my mind and body what it needed, and in return, it gave me space back to be present and fully immerse myself in the experience, and to get in the deeper insights to myself, and to actually live in the moment. And after doing that, man, did I have a blast. That was the best decision ever, where I stopped to consider what I needed, had to unfortunately readjust the plan a little bit, but after catering for what I needed on a holiday, I was able to be myself, the normal self kind of holidays that I like to take, because I like adventure. I really do. And in any case, to conclude about the mindful intention is, by being mindful and intentional, like I said, you create a framework for a more meaningful and a transformative journey, that you can actually consciously seek opportunities for self-reflection, growth, identity exploration. The list is long, but it all comes down in setting clear objectives that will guide your action and focus your attention to during the travels. Being mindful is understanding your needs, to be able to understand what kind of holiday you need to be able to actually maximize what you get from it and not exhaust yourself even further. All right, my second and most favorite point is embracing discomfort. Traveling can truly push you out of your comfort zone, because there are numerous opportunities step into unfamiliar, right? Whether that is navigating into a new city, or in the new city, or driving on the right side of the road when you grew up on the left side of the road, or trying unfamiliar foods. Traveling essentially can force you to confront your fears, insecurities, and limitations, thus giving you skills and new perspective on how to approach unfamiliar situations. I mean, this is like a free life lesson. Okay, free not really, because you kind of have to pay for the travels, but like I said earlier, you might as well put your money to good use and get more than just a new scenery out of it. Grow cognitively. So when you grow cognitively, you stay young because you're forever rejuvenating and getting new dendrites. And like we said earlier, because oftentimes in lives you are faced with, when you travel, you're faced with language barrier, logistic issues, cultural difference. In order to actually enjoy the experience, one has to quickly learn that curiosity and resilience are key in navigating unfamiliar situations. Because unfamiliar can be horrible. Unfamiliar can be, hey, that was not too bad. That was actually quite nice. And anything less than that just brings fear and anxiety, which is robbing you of joy and growth. And really wasting money. You don't want to go to a different place and be so anxious and fearful because you paid for that. You might as well get your money's worth and do something with that fear and anxiety and change it to work for your good. Not only does traveling get you out of your comfort zone to help you better navigate unfamiliar situations in the future that comes with like normal living, but it also increases your neuroplasticity, which is, like we said, the brain's ability to grow, change, and learn. Learning new brain skills are created by new experiences. Okay, by building new skills, gathering and using information, our brain is growing. It is not unique to traveling, but every new experience that you have, from grabbing a coffee at an unfamiliar cafe. If you normally go to Starbucks, you decide, hey, let me go try that cafeteria down the road. I saw it but never been there, to hiking up a mountain in a foreign country. All of these different things can actually impact your brain, right? And this is protecting cognitive function, which prevents age-related degeneration, which is the amazing part about staying young. As you know, that from the age of plus minus 25 are all different, but in general, from the age of 25, our brain is considered to be quite fully developed, and it's from that point that growth needs to be intentional, or else you stagnate and age catches up with you faster. So it is thus necessary to ensure that you get out of your comfort zone, but also at this age, for the first time in your life, that's what makes it tricky, I guess, is that for the first time in your life, you feel like everything makes sense and you're finally at a point where you understand. You've got answers to questions and you know where you're going. It's an amazing place. So I really, really understand how tempting it might be to stay in what is normal. But normal never brought anything good. And staying in our comfort zone, as we know, it just kills the dendrites a lot faster. And if we're not careful to shake up the boat a bit, you will also become very narrow-minded, ignorant human who thinks they know it all because you've reached this pinnacle of understanding your background, understanding where you are, and understanding where you need to go. And if you do not challenge yourself by going outside of your comfort zone, you'll get stuck. And yeah, that just sounds sad. And the only way to prevent you not being stuck and being ignorant and never growing is pretty much get out of your comfort zone. Knowing that your own little bubble so well, and every time you're confronted by anything different, because you do not challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone most of the time, when you are confronted by all this different, your first stance is offense. Offense because you're intimidated. But you can actually avoid all of that by just getting out of your comfort zone. Oh man, hate it when people let's not even get into that chapter. But the point is, if you find yourself often intimidated or often intimidated by different, often on the offensive side when you're confronted by something that is not familiar, consider that maybe you could have the solution in your hands by just going outside of your comfort zone. It's really that simple. Really, really. It's just like we all like to go to gym to lift weights in order to build muscles to become stronger, right? Or simply staying fit or stay in shape, or like me, trying to get those abs. The same goes for your brain. You can also exercise your brain to strengthen your memory, your emotional regulation skills, which is so key to life, to assist you to staying sharp and mentally fresh, because you don't want to be that 30, 40, 50-year-old that sounds like a 80, 90-year-old, and all because you just stayed stagnant in your normal and you never challenged yourself. Recent studies that have been conducted have demonstrated that novelty, i.e. something unfamiliar, and challenges can actually enhance your cognitive function. So technically, you don't have to leave your town to promote brain plasticity, because with every new experience, you have the potential to enhance your brain's ability to change. Anytime we force ourselves out of the comfort zone, our brain is forced to stop being on autopilot mode and actually start engaging. It's like a car, right? It's when you go on cruise because the road is straight and familiar, you just lie back and just like let the Tesla drive. But when it comes to life, when the tricky parts, the tricky curves or unfamiliar places, if you drive, you know that, hey, maybe I should actually start steering the wheel myself and get it into gear and start driving gear 1, 2, 3, and as you go up, to actually drive it yourself, because it's tricky, unfamiliar. The best ways for me to engage, that's exactly it. When you travel, you stop going on autopilot, you stop going on cruise, and you actually engage. By navigating through all these unfamiliar environments and engaging, actually being conscious and present with diverse cultures and facing unexpected situations, you also uncover hidden strengths, develop resilience, discover aspects of your identity that you actually weren't aware of. Yeah, that deserves a whole episode on itself. And when I reflect back on all the travels I've done and how one country just changed everything for me. Nevertheless, overcoming challenges that come with traveling or going outside of your comfort zone teaches you to approach obstacles with resilience, problem-solving skills, and a positive mindset. And all of this works together to actually increasing your sense of confidence, your adaptability, and not being so rigid, and self-assurance, because damn, when you're alone in a foreign country and things go wrong, you need to trust your instinct. You need to have a good relationship with self to get you out of tricky situations. And the more you do this, the more you have a better relationship with self. I mean, I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing, the endless benefits to traveling. And of course, do not forget that the most profound experiences often lie just beyond the boundaries of familiarity. Alright, so the take-home messages here is really simple. If you haven't figured it out yet, from my extensive joy, almost in tears when I think and talk about travels, is that you can be happier, decreasing your stress hormone and increasing joy and satisfaction in your own life. And when you intentionally travel, you come back in your own life with a sense of, that was amazing, but how can I apply it in my everyday life to keep this amazing feeling? And remember the research that I told you about when they compared those that had planned their holidays and those that didn't. The second part was also how many of those actually came back home and still happier after weeks and months. And they found that those that had planned it, how long the dopamine levels also lasted were quite higher than those that didn't, because the one key differentiating thing besides the obvious of planning is intentionality. So you have dopamine before you travel, dopamine during, and dopamine afterwards. I mean, la bella vita, no? That's okay. So I hope you're getting the gist of this, right? In terms of increasing your likelihood of living longer and lighter, it comes down to intentional traveling, because all of that decreases your chances of being depressed and dementia and Alzheimer's and all these cognitively related diseases. And you also feel younger and more adventurous. So my point there is, aging does not have to look so daunting as it is in some cultures and how some cultures have painted it. It should actually contribute to giving you the best days. I mean, think about it this way, all right? You're wiser now and you've actually accumulated enough money, your own money, to explore the world. So getting older should be great times. So remember these two simple things, and I hope you try to practice them, is that mindful traveling is about aligning your actions and mindsets with the desired outcomes. By approaching traveling with a mindful intention, you're actually enhancing your self-discovery, deepening your understanding of the world, and you foster personal growth throughout your journey, right? And it's important to also reflect on the discomfort, because you will experience that a lot when you travel. And when you reflect on it, it actually helps you come back home and implement all the things that you learned
because you actually got more dendrites and more neurons, because you engaged cognitively more intentionally and your plasticity increased, right? As we said, that the most profound experiences often lie beyond the boundaries of familiarity, because traveling exposes us to a variety of viewpoints and ways of life, enhancing by embracing discomfort. It allows you to challenge your preconceived notions and biases and cultural stereotypes, which makes you a more open person. And that's why they said also traveling contributes to your personality. It actually makes you a nicer person. Here they go, free tip. If ever you want to improve your personality, travel more intentionally. So I hope that as you embark on your travel adventures, you'll remember this conversation. And I encourage you to also step out of your comfort zone, embrace the discomfort that comes with traveling, embracing it, because that allows you to grow. But you can't grow if you don't embrace. But how do you embrace is allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to face the challenge and say, all right, I have no cooking clue what I'm doing, but I'm gonna give it a try, and you grow through these different experiences, because it's in those moments of discomfort that you truly find yourself and you sharpen your identity. So I really hope you've enjoyed the episode as much as I have enjoyed chatting about it. And I hope you've realized that Botox is not necessary, and extensive vitamins, unprescribed vitamins, is not the way to go to living lighter, happier, and longer. The secret, among many things, the point here was the secrets behind traveling and traveling mindfully, how that could leave you younger, freer, better, and flipping happier. I wish you happy and transformative travels. May your travels never ever be the same after this episode. Thanks for sticking around to the very end. I hope you've enjoyed it and you will actually travel differently. Let me know what you think. Let's connect on social media at Breaking It Down with Dr. Del Mabunda. And I hope you keep well and keep safe, and most of all, keep healthy.